Well, oh, yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite chocolate.
Yeah.
Nope.
About that is.
Boss, but I knew that would throw you.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna.
Would be there.
I got
That's
a
like
chair.
my favorite
I have a
spot.
chair up here.
It would be the person that sits in the front that throws his whole plate.
I told them if it's bad, don't throw the food at us. You tell them.
I know, right?
Right?
Just so you know, at church, I sit in the same spot too, front row, around church towards the left.
Oh, awesome.
Mr. Serrano, the wrestling champion. Okay, you're gonna sneak it off of Nick, come on in. Hold on, Nick, don't in the corner. Wishes in the back corner.
Welcome. Oh, he did, yeah. He's pretty passionate about it. And I was like, hey, can you go? You look nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be able to buy you now.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go down there. You know, let's get everybody in here. Okay. How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah. Let's go right into the office, right into the team meeting.
This one's for 603. But then we brought out baby, and they kind of in and out. Yeah, so they have a video.
All right, guys.
All right, I think we should probably. Yeah.
Good morning, Keller Williams, Roswell. I don't know what you guys got. I've got a few minutes past 11 o'clock. We should probably get started. All right, so we've got an awesome team meeting started. I want to kick this off the right way, which we should every single week. That's with gratitude. So what's something you're grateful for? Maybe somebody you want to say thank you to, maybe someone's helped you. It could be a warm cup of coffee. It could be a nice day. It could be the air in your lungs. What are you grateful for this morning? Yes, Sissy.
I'm grateful for Twee. We did a little training session together, but generosity is always overflowing.
Sweet, heads up. Way to go. Way to go, way to go. All right, yeah, Joel.
I'm grateful for Haley. Where'd she go? Here she comes, sitting on the beach last month, chilling, get a call from her, had never met or had the pleasure of meeting her. She had a crazy referral, something I've never heard of before, so those are always fun. It was for a lease deal, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really unique, but, the building they wanted wasn't for lease, it was for sale. And probably a week after getting back from the beach, I now have that building under contract for $3.5 million.
Whoa.
This young lady, I will hopefully have the pleasure in the next 48 hours when the village runs out, of talking to her about her $15,000.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Haley, catch, hugs and kisses. Can I get it over Leah's head? Oh, so close, so close. Yes, who's next?
I
Go ahead,
am
Dawn.
grateful for John.
John, where's John? There he is, Mr. Serrano. What did John do for you?
Well, he roped me in, got me motivated. I was kind of, he keeps me going, pushes me the way I need to be.
And that's important, isn't it? Having people that push us to what we're capable of.
I had pretty much thrown in the towel.
You know, and sometimes people, and maybe you've had this happen in your life, somebody sees something in you and believes in you more than you believe in yourself in that moment, right? It's important to have those people around you. Yes.
I'm thankful for Twee and I'm also thankful for Kim.
We and Kim, where's Kim at?
Kim in here, but Kim, I shadowed Kim doing a open house, on Sunday and it was awesome. And Twee called me just to see whatever I needed.
Oh, look, isn't having the support of your peers around you wonderful? Do you want to give this to Kim when you see her? Oh, so close. It counts. We'll count it. Yes.
Okay, I gotta say Twee too, I'm telling you.
You on fire today, sweetie.
She was just awesome, pouring into me, just pouring a lot of things that I didn't know, but it was great.
Doesn't that feel good?
Oh, my God.
Doesn't that feel good?
Because she sent me a text this morning to make sure that it was gonna be great to be here at the meeting.
You know, a lot of us come from W-2 world where we had a specific role doing a specific thing. Then we step into real estate. And it's like, now you're the salesperson, you're the marketer, you know, you're the negotiator, you're the accountant, you're everything. It can be overwhelming. It's so important to have people like Twee and like these others around us to help us. Yes, you have another one.
I just wanna say this,
Yeah.
I am a new agent and this whole Roswell family is awesome.
So we all.
Yeah, everybody gets talking. All right. We'll take one more. Haley, is that right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
This off of Joel's, yeah, he said that he helped me with the lease situation. Again, my clients were actually impossible in the situation, but he had that buyer and, he really came through to the right hands to get in the building. Not only that, but I know we have these flyers and I'm sure we're gonna talk about that, but I also got health insurance from this man while he was sitting on the beach with his photo stand, and I now have like zero deductible, zero out-of-pocket costs for health insurance, and I had a terrible insurance before, so thank you.
Joel? And a little bit on that, Joel, he makes plenty of income. He doesn't do the insurance side for that. He does it because he has a story of something that happened. You don't have to share it right now, Joel, right? But he has something that happened in his life and he cares very much about helping people get the insurance coverage they need, right? And we're talking, he gets peanuts from this. He's not doing it for the money. He wants to save someone's life and he has. He's given me multiple. I've had other agents in our sister offices reach out to me saying, I got the help that I needed medically because of what Joel did for me, right? So thank you, Joel. Yeah, he's cheering up. Yeah, he gets the whole jar. Give him another round of applause. Thank you, Joel. All right. So if you need health insurance or if you have health insurance, you're paying way too much for it, you should probably talk with him. He can probably see what he can do for you. Is that accurate?
Very, yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Lunch. Ensign here. Do we have James here? Ensign, come on up, guys. Give him more coffee.
How gorgeous was that lunch day, right?
Was it really that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm James with Ensign Building Solutions. This is Ryan. I'm gonna introduce Ryan to this office because Ryan is gonna be the designated inspector for this office from Ensign. So anything what we do in terms of mold, water, fire restoration, Ensign, I'm sorry,
Radon.
and radon mitigation, of course. Ryan is gonna be your point of contact. So I'm sure he's been passing around business cards and shaking hands and saying hello. If you haven't met him yet, you're more than welcome to walk up to him and say, hey, I'm here. We also want to say thank you to everybody who came out yesterday. We had a really good CE course, got really competitive, played some Family Feud. It was really competitive, actually. I was scared for a moment when I saw you guys going for that bell, 2 hands at a time. And I'm talking about, it was like, I was thinking that we probably have to bring out some liability forms. But it was really good. We had a course on custom home construction. We'll be coming back pretty soon to do another one on radon. So I'm really gonna talk to Melody about giving you guys an email heads up on that, so you guys can sign up for it. We really want to share some information that would be helpful to you in terms of radon mitigation and the things that will be, helpful for you to talking with your clients on those subjects. So anything you want to say, Ryan?
No, just excited to meet each and every one of you. I'll be here at least every 2 weeks, if not more frequently. So yeah, I'll make sure all of you get my card. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out.
Also, too, we do also have a general contracting department in Ensign, in which we do things like home renovations, and we also do custom home construction. We have a special event that is coming up this Saturday, actually, where we are going to be inviting all of you guys to come out and see. It's going to be a custom home tour of one of our custom homes that we built. And we are going to be having different kinds of activities, pool activities, boat rides, there's going to be food, there's going to be yard games, all kinds of stuff. The front office, Melody, is going to be actually sending out an email for you guys to RSVP if you would like to come. It's going to be an awesome experience. Even if you have a client that is looking for a custom home builder right now, you can bring them along as well. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that, but we'll get out of your way.
James, quick question.
Yeah.
If agents get a deal under contract, buyer side or listing side, they get an amendment to address concerns, has some items on there. Can they send that over to you guys to get a quote?
You can send it over. I will say that we are not always the quickest when it comes to those types of things. But we can look at that list. We can give you a quote. And if you have the time, if you have, some room in your transaction, we can definitely help you with those type of things.
Perfect. Give a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Hey, Kathy Vitale and Tammy, come on up.
Hey, everybody. Who am I with? It's Tammy with. We still are. Thanks, everyone. So Tammy's gonna go over the shelter six, but before that, I'm gonna start telling y'all capture rate. So in the month of June, we had 10 closings between the two of us. 17% of this market share was ours. Our goal is 30, which is a very aggressive growth. So if we don't work with you, we would love 100% of your business, but if we get 30 to 40%, we'd appreciate that too. So get with us. If you have any events, like if you want us to try to show up at open houses with you, we can do co-client events. We've done reverse 100. We're happy to market with you too, to help you get the business, of course, to help us get it.
Yeah. So as you guys probably saw, we had a little bit of improvements in rates last week, and that was because, right? That was because of the lower inflation report, which was good. And so that's the thing, you guys, if you tell your clients and you control that narrative and let them know, listen, it's a free consultation to get your numbers, to know what you qualify for. It's so important. And with us, we're able to also get them pre-underwritten so that we can close aggressively in 2 weeks if we need to. We realize that inventory is low, so we are having to be extremely aggressive. And notes, we did it this weekend. We were able to win a deal by waiving financing, waiving appraisal, and getting everything done, and we're closing in 2 weeks. So just so you guys know, we can do that, but it's just a matter of allowing your buyers to have them have a conversation with us. Yes, rates are going to be where they're at. Unfortunately, I think we may see one more additional rate hike by the end of the year, but that doesn't mean they're not ready now. I can't tell you how many folks we have conversations with, and they're like, we're going to wait 6 months, see what the rates do. Like, that's great, but let's run your numbers. Next thing you know, they're shopping and they're going under contract within 1 or 2 weeks. Because they get excited. They don't realize, they just keep hearing one thing, that the rates are high, but they don't know the numbers and how they pertain to them. So
And
we're here for you guys.
You on it. I mean, I had a conversation with a client of an agent here that she may have to pay maybe 5,000 above appraised value. And I said, listen, you're gonna make that up with the way where she's buying a Peachtree Corners is going. That's a no-brainer, because you know you're gonna be there, because of your plan, you're gonna be there 10 years, because this is her last home. I said, that's, you can't even put that in your mind that that's a negative now, because of what appreciation is being. Rate, we're gonna do a 15 years, she's gonna get a 5.99 and not buy any points, and we're gonna be ready to refinance her. So again, it's communication on what is important to them, what's their reason, right? Because they have to have an event. We have to look at for that event and what makes sense for them. And it's truly a consultation. It's amazing how many times we talk to someone, they've already talked to a loan officer, they don't know their payment, they didn't get a worksheet, you know, at pre-approval, they really didn't know their numbers, and that's when we'll win them over. Because we'll truly consult with them to make sure they know. And for you too, if you guys, especially you new guys, you get a worksheet or you get numbers from a lender and a buyer and you're like, I don't even know what they're talking about. It's okay, call us and we'll help you understand it. Do it all the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. As agents, are we supposed to give our clients options?
Yes.
When they, so here's what I recommend, and I have always said this to my clients, like, they might say they already have a lender. I said, look, do this, take 5 minutes, talk with Shelter Onward, get another quote to see what it's gonna be. That 5 minutes could literally save you thousands of dollars, right? Doesn't matter to me who you use. What matters to me is you get the right person and the right loan that's able to get you to closing on time. Take that 5 minutes. It could be the best phone call you ever make in your life. Would it be okay if I connected you with Kathy or with Tammy? And will they always have the lowest rates or in fees? No, but a lot of times they win the business for other reasons. They have a special product they can do, or honestly, that person a lot of times feels more comfortable with the communication that they get, knowing that it's gonna close on time, we won't have issues. So give them an at-bat, that's what I'm saying. We're supposed to do that as agents anyway. Give them an at-bat. It doesn't matter who they use, give them an at-bat. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, all right, Kern, O'Kelly and Soran, come on up, Kern. Good to see you too.
Hey, everybody, I'm Karen Schwartz with O'Kelly and Sorahan. For those of you that are going to Mega Camp, we are having a get together happy hour on Monday night. Melody sent out the invitation, but if you missed it, need me to send it to you again, just let me know. So when I get to do kind of different things, right? And I thought we would be seeing some of these earlier, but the seal has been broken. I have closed an assumption. So learned some things that I didn't know before, and I've got a couple of them that are set to close. Right now, just be prepared that if you have parties that are interested in doing an assumption, I think they're still looking at a 90-day timeline. Now, the one that I have, I actually got, we want to know early because we will help you. We got contact information and authorization so that we can talk to that lender. Because until they get ready and they're preparing their documents, if they don't know who we are, we can't communicate timeline and all that. So we have one that they were looking to do pretty quickly, and now we've moved to the closing, but I've actually already gotten a request from the lender. So I think it's going to close well before the 90 days. And I think if we have a volume of those, these lenders the process will speed up perhaps a little bit. But FHA and VA loans are assumable mortgages. So if you have a seller with an FHA or a VA loan, a buyer may be able to assume that loan. They have to qualify for it. It's a very similar process to applying for a new mortgage, but they do have to go through that
Your seller has
process.
to be willing to be under contract for 60 to 90 days, though, the longer process.
Yeah. And I'm getting a lot of questions and a lot of contracts with seller financing. We will help walk you through that. Same thing with assumptions. They're GAR forms. that you can use. So if you have one and you've not done one before and you need help on how is this structured, what do I do? What do I need to put in my contract? Please, reach out to me. I'm seeing investor activity again, which is good. 1031 exchanges are back. We can help walk you through all of that. So don't feel like, hey, I don't know what to do here. My seller is interested in maybe doing some seller financing for this buyer, but I've never done one of those. Reach out and I'll walk you through how that works and what it's going to cost. We prepare those seller financing documents for you. Okay, any questions?
All right, thank you, Karen, appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna cover a bunch of really good stuff today, right? And education without implementation is what? Entertainment. You didn't come here to be entertained for an hour. We're gonna have fun. We are gonna have some fun. You came here to find something you can put in place in your business this afternoon to help you get in touch with more clients, to help you do more deals, to help you better provide for your family. I'm going to give you one idea right now that I've mentioned a couple of times, and I think it'll be worth you writing down in your notes right now if you just heard Kern talk about it. If somebody right now is not making a move because of interest rates, okay, and you wanted, what's your unique value proposition as an agent? Why would someone call you and ask you, what if you were able to say, you know, I'm curious, if I was able to find a home for you that had 3.5%-ish interest rate, would that change your timeline? What do you think most people would say? Absolutely, right? Okay, how would you as an agent identify those? This is not that complicated. Go to FMLS, click where you're going to run a search. At the bottom where you typically type in, you type in active, you type in price, you type in city. Towards the bottom, there's a spot that says add or remove fields. You guys know what I'm talking about? The bottom, add or remove fields. Click that. It brings up this page that has two boxes. Select the one that says terms, TERMS, terms. Okay, add that. Now, when you go back to your search field at the bottom, you'll have a box for terms. What are you looking for? She mentioned two of them. We know that VA and FHA are assumable mortgages. And if somebody bought that house from 2018 to 2021, they probably have a 3-point-something% interest rate. Do you guys follow me? Okay, so now we can identify the list of homes in the area they're looking at that have probably a really good interest rate. Okay, makes sense? There's another box you can check inside those terms when it pops up. Some of them will be marked as assumable, okay? Or assumed, meaning it's already been assumed, which means it could probably be assumed again. Makes sense? Because only some, not very many conventionals are assumable, but some are. Some banks have portfolio loans that are assumables. Like Providence Bank and some other local community banks will do internal loans that are assumable. So that'd be a great way to have your unique value proposition. So now you have this list in an area, and by the way, when I showed this on the screen, there were literally thousands in our area. And it's not just like the $300,000 entry level houses. There were ones that went up to $1 million that had a assumable loan on them. So any price range, this could be your UVP. You're hearing Kern talk about it. Go do it. That's your UVP. That make sense? Okay. Helpful? Yes?
Yes.
Good? Okay. All right. All right, who else we have? I don't think Kelly Lucinda's here today. No, 210. Save her cell phone. She's been a lifesaver for myself and my clients over the years. When something's going sideways, especially when it's like 108 degrees outside, the AC stops, call her. A lot of times what they'll do is give them like a $300 or $500 credit to go to get a temporary AC system to put in their house, and that they'll cool it off until the AC is fixed. But if you don't make that call, that won't happen. Do you see what I mean? Call and she can speed things up. Michael Harris, Georgia Natural Gas, you got his number there too. They get a discount. KW Roswell is a code. Good? Okay. Okay, I got quiet for a second. Did I go too fast on the assumable thing? You guys catch that? If you need to know more later, just come after the meeting. I'll help you with it, okay? All right, you guys have seen this. This will be sent out later, so I'll have a copy of this. Okay, tools to help you do more business. Keller Cover, discounted home insurance. Earnest. So you guys shouldn't be driving around to get earnest money checks anymore. Your clients should be using this. BankShot also does something very similar. KW Roswell training. Again, if we cover something great today that John talks about, because he's pretty awesome, you can go back and watch it. Pause it, replay it. You're going to hear words to use, powerful words with your clients that'll help you get them to move forward in their business. So yes, Nicole.
If you have not logged in, there's a spot in there when you log in as an agent.
You may not have access if you've never logged into. You have to request access, Raven will give you access.
There you go. Oh, good. Scott Lori Marketing for Command File On Demand, Porch.com for quick repair estimates. They're not super accurate, you know, as if somebody was going out and looking at it, but it's a good place to get a quote. ProMove is a great way to assist leads who are not ready to buy and still receive a commission. So it's a great way to also generate some income. If you have a little gaps in your business, I'll tell you right now, they'll pay, I mean, it's $500, $600, $700, $800 per property. You can help a couple people find a couple homes. That could add some additional income for you. And then Grand Welcome, help your leads set up an Airbnb. So here's another lead gen idea. If you're writing down things to take away, you could go on to Airbnb, find out the list of all the properties that are Airbnb. If you click on Realist Tax Records, you can get their name, right? And you also have their address of where they actually live, not just the property address, you'll have a tax billing address. Okay, then you have an app called Forewarn, where you can look up their phone number, follow do not call list, but call them and say, hey, I'm just curious. If I was able to find another investment property that gave you a better ROI than the one you have now, would you consider 1031 exchanging into it? Any good investor is going to say what?
Yes.
Yes, there's another idea, something you can do literally this afternoon to get more business. Okay. All right, some upcoming stuff. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Market Mastermind, ALC, it's at 8:30 a.m. and top 20% agents are hosting that. Ann, is Ann in the room?
Yes.
Ann, do you want to tell us what this is?
Well, if you want to lead gen, come prepared, come with a list of the people that you want to call. We're making some changes. Some will be in Zoom, some will be live. Join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. and in the conference room.
Yeah, actually take action. Get something that's perfect. Thank you, Ann. Okay, style and design demo with Heather Kane. She's a huge producer inside KW. I can't remember her volume. I know it was well over 100 million a year. And she has a really unique product, a really cool interface. She's going to show you how you can use this in your own business to get more business. That's going to be Tuesday, July 18th at 1:30. Is that?
That's today.
That is today at 1:30. So go get some lunch, come back. Yeah, there we go. And then
There's that mug right there.
Here's a question I have for you. What's the last realtor retirement party you went to? I've been in since 2005. I haven't been to one ever, you know? And the reality is like we always show people how to create more business. But when do we stop and help them create passive income and wealth so they actually have an exit plan? That's what this is about. And it's a series that I put together. I've been asked to come back, and it's morphed over the past probably 6 months into action-based training, where I'm gonna walk through everything on where to identify properties, the 3 or 4 different ways you can find them right now, what mistakes people commonly make, how to fund the deals, whether it's flipping, whether it's long 1031 exchanges, you name it. We're gonna go through that together. So please come. When is it? Part 1, August 8th from 2 to 4 p.m. I'm probably going to talk to Melba and get it certified as CE, because I know it would more than qualify. I don't know if it won't be done maybe by then, but it will be probably the next one. So be there for that. Chart Masters, when is that? Friday. Be the economist of choice. Today, we're going to talk about month over month. Friday, they're going over the quarter. Okay. So be there for that. That's at the Forsyth County Conference Center, which is up 400. It's the same one we've been to for multiple times now. RESPA compliance, follow the TCPA. You guys can get that at that link there. Compliance checkup. And I would like to invite up front the guy that's already got a lot of accolades, Joel, to give us a commercial market update.
I'll never be invited back, but I did get a kiss from Aubrey, so that's. Oh, yeah. Don't start the clock yet. The young lady mentioned earlier in the green dress, and I just didn't get your name, I'm sorry. Marla. There was a time in my life where I ran a very large company on a national level, and I would speak throughout the country, all across Canada, US. And part of my speech at some point was, you got to be crazy, you want to be in this business. It was retail. And I often said, if you can get rid of half the customers and all the salespeople, it'd be a wonderful business to be in. And God has just done a lot with my life. And I ended up here some years ago, or ended up in another KW office. But I can just tell you, Marla, I so concur. I've never in my life been more happy to go to work and be with you people. So thanks for letting me be a part of your journey, because I just think you're wonderful. And I think his company is awesome and I love it. So that's kind of my testimonial to that. So I'll second your emotion.
Thank you.
Man, I think we get a positive spin out of this. That first slide. Performance Real Estate, Tyler Office Properties, two largest banks, and they're worse than. Okay, we're good. Let me just tell you, when I was asked to do this a couple of weeks ago by Raven, she said, I want you to produce some national stats. I'm like, and then she said, and personal stats. I'm like, oh, okay, that's different. So I could handle that because sometimes what the national stats say really has a lot less to do with what we do. And I just encourage everyone to stay. The acronym is FIOT, focused intensity over time. And that's kind of what's gotten me through a lot in life. Wells Fargo, they're having a really difficult time. They increased their loan loss. I've never seen that before. $1 trillion or something, a lot of money. So that's not looking good. They're right off losses. There's a lot of not so great stuff here. Give me the next slide. Get off of this thing. Even though I love that picture. So this did have a lot to do with me. As you can see, loan growth matches 5 years. This is all commercial real estate stuff. So this is what Raven asked for. So I'm going to try to sell this as best I can. As you can see, this is a pretty solid chart here the last few years. You go, how in the world did that happen? I don't know, man, because we were locked down for a lot of this right here. But I can tell you, my fourth quarter does not match this at all. In fact, my fourth quarter matches that. I just didn't really have a whole lot going on in fourth quarter. But that number right there, I believe, has a lot to do with what happened in first, second, third. One of the things you guys may not know, but commercial real estate, so vastly different. It's like speaking English versus Mandarin. It is a totally different animal. When you write a contract, you know that 33 days later, you're going to buy a new pair of shoes. When we write, seriously, we write a contract, we know that 63 days later, we're still chewing on the fingernails of our right hand. I mean, literally, I have a deal right now that's going to a contract with 150-day due diligence, which means there's so many landmines you could lose at any given time. So this number right here is reflective of what's happened through and they wanted them all closed by fourth quarter. But look at our first quarter this year, 4-year low. Last time that was that low was 2021 quarter one. Not a good picture. The great news about this is the rear view is here and it's real small. The windshield is right here and it's really big. Since then, my business has exploded since the beginning of this year. Everything I had for lease is either leased or getting ready to be leased. So that's a good deal. Everything that I had listed for sale is either sold, under contract, or by 2 o'clock today, my last property will have a deal on it. I just got a call this morning on. So things are trending up big time. Let's get rid of this thing because that's just ugly. There's a lot of good news out there. The saving grace, I think, for a lot of commercial real estate is the multifamily. That's kind of a big deal. Unfortunately, I won't do it. Okay. I'm going to talk about referrals for a minute, but before I do that, I just kind of want to set that up. We all need to really stay focused on what we do in order to do what we do well and to generate a good living out of it. Focus intensity over time has gotten me through a lot of life, my children through college, certainly in the real estate business. We have to stay focused on who we are and what it is we do. Commercial real estate will absolutely knock you off of that track. It will completely blow your focus out of water, and you can spend 6 months working on the deal that you lose in 7. I mean, that's just the way it works. I was given a call last week, and they said someone, another agent in another KDW office says, we need you to help us out with multifamily. And I just said, sorry, I don't speak the language. It's not what I do. When you're dealing with maybe a client who wants to talk about commercial real estate, if it's a simple cash buy, building sitting there and it's empty and they got the cash to do it, come talk to me. I'll help you get it done. If anything beyond that, just refer it over and get it off your plate, because your coaches want to tell you, don't get bogged down. Don't get off of your track. When me personally, is there any other commercial guys in the building, in the office? No, I mean, today.
We got Keith here.
I'm sorry, Keith. Yeah. Keith, we have met. I don't think. I mean, we did. We had a couple of deals. So I'm not. I'll have to say that I speak for both of us, and even Ellsworth and Sarah and all the guys. One of the biggest lifts of our entire year is giving a referral check to someone, because when you represent a client, that's a big deal, right? Whether it be for sale or purchase or lease, what have you. But when you add in that component of a referring agent, it puts a bit more. It gives us an extra gear. We really want to do everything we can to hand that check over. And I have never, since I've known this company, allowed Lee to put a referral check in a file drawer. I said, give it to me and I'll find you where you are and I will come there and I will hand it to you. Some of the biggest joys I've gotten are paying a lot of young agents or new agents rather, their very first commission check. It's the highlight of my year. I'm telling you, I have sought agents out elsewhere and hunted them down and handed them that check. And I say, you are now a compensated professional realtor. So I love doing it. I'll work hard for you. I will tell you right now, don't call me with vape stores. And I don't care, my landlords won't take them, all right? Don't call me with CBD. My landlords won't take them. Convenience stores that put co-am machines, lottery machines in there, they won't take them. So we just won't do that. But I will tell you what is interesting. I guess in the last year, marijuana dispensary has now become legalized in the state of Georgia. Go figure, right? I'm actually working on a marijuana dispensary lease right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I've never done it before. But things have been really ramping up for me. I think since first quarter, right now I'm 7 or 8 million under contract as we speak today on sales. Another 1.5 million, which is Haley's deal, 1.4 million actually. LOI, signed LOI, ready to go. 48 hours left on due diligence, right? Chewing the finger down. So a lot of really good things are happening. But I did read, Kathy, I read just 30 minutes ago. I guess next week they're talking about another quarter point rate hike. Here's the way it works. Commercial real estate, totally different from what you guys do. You guys are just, you're brilliant because it don't have to make sense. It has to be for sale and you get a deal. Commercial real estate though, it has to make sense and we do a deal. If it doesn't make sense, then we try to make it make sense. If we can't make it make sense, we move on. I mean, it's just that simple. No emotion involved, make it make sense. Interest rates have plagued us. That Q1 graph we showed a minute ago kind of tells the story. But it really, the good news is Raymond, that's the first time I've looked at the national stat this year. I just don't pay attention to it because no national statistician has ever walked up to me and handed me a check. I've got to go earn it. And that's just what I do. And I encourage you all to do the same things. If you need help with a commercial real estate deal, I help. If you need a referral, as long as it's not vape, we'll talk about the referral. I do retail, I do office and some light industrial stuff. Probably the biggest thing I see happen right now is anything that's retail viable, not vape, not CBD, but anything retail, we can get at least for you. Medical, I can buy it, I can sell it, and I can lease it if you have a medical referral. For whatever reason, that's just been the biggest claim to fame for me in the last 6 months. That's kind of what I got. I wish you all the best, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
That Joel was stating is commercial is a different animal, right? So if we have that, we want to work with the commercial agent with that. We don't want to try to do that animal ourselves, right? And then looking at the smaller picture, nationally, things look a little scary, right? The news looks a little scary, right? However, here, our market's still good. Joel's still getting business. Keith's still getting business. Everybody's still getting referrals. So let's move out.
Make your own news, make your own
right?
stats. That's what I do. Make your own news.
Exactly.
We had
Thank you, Joel.
23 agents at our cappers lunch last week.
Wow.
That tells you something right there.
Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it. You bet. Anytime. All right, so I thought popped to my mind. I always want you guys leading with something to put in place in your business. And as Joel was talking, I was like, we're in an area that has one of the highest price points in all of the state of Georgia, right? A lot of the people that we work with own their businesses or are very high up in their organization. Wouldn't it make sense to maybe ask them, hey, have you ever thought about owning the building you're in? Maybe ask that question. And you're like, what if you could be your own landlord and maybe get a lower payment than what you have now on an asset that you'll eventually pay off and own that could be your retirement in the future? That's a good question to ask your clients, right? And then what do? Get them connected with Joel. And Joel will take care of them. And you get a $15,000 check like Haley, right? Who would like a $15,000 check here in another month or so, right? So there you go. A couple ideas you can put in place. All right,
Joel or Keith?
Or Keith is phenomenal as well. Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk for a second about this week, and then we're going to go into the monthly stuff and wrap our conversation. So, John, in a second, I'll have you come up. So we're not going to dig too much into this right now. What I will say is 170 new listings came on, 232 went under contract. If that trend continues, where more go under contract than what are hitting the market, what does that do to our supply? Does it increase it or decrease it? It decreases it. Okay, supply and demand, economics, if you have not enough supply to meet the demand, what happens to prices? That's the moral of the story. You're gonna see some interesting stuff going on here in a minute. These week to week, it's very difficult to judge something week to week. You've really got to step back for the month. You're gonna step back for the quarter to actually see a trend. And we're gonna dig more into this in a minute, but definitely look at these a little more detail. Okay, so when somebody comes up to you and says, how's the market? How do you respond?
Great.
Great.
Yeah, why do you ask? Yeah, market's fascinating. You know, when we're at Chartmaster, Danny and Leslie will dig a little more into what they call party chatter. You guys have heard this before? You want to create curiosity. If somebody says, how's the market? So many agents think internally and they say, oh, it's great, market's on fire, and they move on. What they're hoping that person hears is, you know, Merle's a professional, and if I'm going to do real estate, I'm going to call Merle. What they actually hear is, oh, Merle's fine, she's doing good, no worries, right? You want to place yourself in their mind that you're the professional that they're going to call if they have any questions about real estate, right? So say something like, you know, sellers are back to getting 100% of their price again, on average, you know, or say something like the median sales price is 465, or say, you know, distressed sales only make up 0.6 of today's market. Say something that will get them to pique their curiosity. Here's one that's not on here that I would add. I would say something like, however, 25.6% of the homes are not selling during their listing period. So that'll ask, when somebody hears that, what would they probably say? Why? What's going on? Now you've sparked a conversation around it, right? And what do we know is that number in isolation, is it good or bad? We don't know unless we look at the bigger picture. And actually, that's a good number. Historically, 30-something% of them usually don't sell. So 25% is a good number. But what will cause a home to not sell right now? Price. Yeah, I had an agent that took a listing with a hole in the roof. Like, this thing will never sell. I'm like, watch, you put the right price on it, it'll sell. How many days do you think it took to sell? 2. 2. Went above list price. And this was 4 years ago, you know? So, all right, why do you ask? Make sure you plug that in. Okay. Strive to Thrive listing contest. Has Robin told you all about this? Yes. Good. Essentially, and this will be sent out, every listing that you get $350,000 listing is $350,000 in KW cash. And then you'll have a chance to bid on some cool stuff. And that's coming up on September 5th. So you got a little time. Let's focus on getting some listings. Okay. All right, let's celebrate our top 20 for a second here. Top 20 in order, Tom and Joanne, John Serrano, Jamie Simpson, Chad Brown and Alan Wyatt, Mark Ellsworth, Kim Williams, Jake, Roxy and Michael, and Tatum. Let's give them a round of applause. And Sarah Sloan, Adam Sobel, Tweed who's here, Peggy, Kathy's here, Allie, JC Mirabella, and Christy and Tracy. Let's give them all a round. In an office of over 400 agents, that's a big accomplishment. Celebrate that, right? And when I was, maybe like one of you sitting in this room right now, oh, that's dumb. You know, I don't know how they're getting, I don't know if that can be me. Here's one key thing I found with every top agent that I've ever seen climb the ranks in these charts. Go take somebody to lunch. Go say, you know, hey Keith, do you eat lunch? Okay, great. Let me go buy your lunch, you know, and take them to lunch. Say, hey, if you were me and you were starting over in this business, what would you do differently? What advice? Don't call somebody and say, hey, will you be my mentor? They won't do that. A busy agent doesn't have time, but they would love to go have lunch. So take them to lunch. Okay. All right. All right. So the next section that we're really the meat and potatoes of today, we're going to invite up Mr. John Serrano, who's number 2 in the entire office right now. Come on up. Congratulations. Thank you. Give me my thumb back. Give me my thumb. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. We're going to talk about how to have conversations. Here, you stand. I'll step over here. About the market and what's going on and how to really talk with your clients about this. And John is doing this almost every single day. Well, is doing this every single day with clients and helping other people guide them through the conversations through it. So, John, anything before you
want to start by saying I only get to be number 2 because I'm a team leader and I have an awesome team of agents. Stand up. Where's the APP team in its office? Yeah. Four of the agents on our team are in the top 20% in the office, and the other 2 are going to be there very soon. Right, so I'm so proud of the work that they're doing. They're having a great year.
And I love that's what a leader does is they don't celebrate the wins as they put it all on who actually made it happen.
The other thing too is that, you know, a lot of we're talking about we're in this kind of recession thing.
right? Or are we in this recession? And Gary Keller a couple weeks ago said, hey, you know, even though the country is not in a recession, real estate agents are in a recession. Because home sellers are getting more for their homes right now than probably ever before. And the economy is doing pretty well, right? Right, interest rates are high, however, the unemployment levels are still pretty historically low. So who's in a recession right now? Real estate agents in a recession, right? With that being said, how many agents are having a great year in this office? Right, so there's a lot of agents out there across the country that are not doing really well, but our team's having the best year we've ever had. And I know that, and I know a lot of other agents that I talk to say, hey, we're having like the best year we ever had. So it's the lens you look through. So if you choose to look through this lens that it's terrible out there and you can't make any money and this economy is terrible or it's tough to be an agent, switch your lens. Right, that's my coaching. And by the way, if you want to take me to lunch, I'm open.
Gary says the market's the market, production is a choice.
Yeah.
The market's reality doesn't have to be your reality.
Yeah.
Right? Find out what the top producers are doing and go do it.
Yeah.
And he's exactly right. If sales are down 20% and volume down 20% year over year, guess what agents' income is down? 20%, right? On average, but not everybody. How many people in W2 world had to take a 20% pay cut last year? That just doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen, right? But it does to us, you know, if we choose to let it happen to us, or we can say, I'm not going to let that. And I'll tell you what, you may have a rough week right now, a rough day, a month, rough quarter. And I heard Nikki Miller said that she teaches Quantum Leap. She said, you're not failing. You didn't fail. You're just in the middle of succeeding. You're in the middle of succeeding. It's just a hiccup. It's a learning opportunity. You know, how are we going to grow from this?
If thousands of homes are still selling in our market, month over month, you just want to get a few of them, right? You just want to, you don't have to sell 1,000 homes, right? You just have your number. It might be 1, 2, or 3 a month, right? So switch your lens, switch your attitude about how the market's going, right?
Okay, I want to start off with this one. John, tell us what you see here.
So I love this chart. I take this chart with me on all my consultations, both buyer and seller. And this gives you the whole recap of everything that's going on and in plain language that you can explain. So if you just don't know what's going on with active listings historically, you can tell that they're lower versus last year, right? So when you're using this chart, the verbiage right here really explains to you what's happening, right? So that's the first thing as far as understanding how to explain these numbers. And on Friday, when you get to Chart Masters, don't miss Chart Masters on Friday, because you'll have all the scripts to use when you to how to leverage this information. But as you're looking at this information, if you're looking year over year, right? So let's look at the first number. Year over year, there were 7,000 homes sold, last year, 6,000 this year. So it's lower, right? Obviously, pendings are lower, right? Pending ratio is about the same, right? Sold, look at the difference in sold, right? So the numbers are going down. What's happening is when you look at months of supply, this is what this months of supply said, 1.9% months to months. Does everybody know what 1.9 means? Months of supply, somebody can explain that? What that means? That if every home available should stop, if no new listings came on the market, that in 1.9, in 1 month, 1.9 months, about 2 months time, every home would be sold and that would be it. There'd be no more homes available, right? So what this tells us, and we're going to look at another chart and how that compares to the market, is that it is really extreme seller's market, right? Price points, check out the median price, how that's going up, right? Check that out. That really tells the story there too. Median days on the market, look at just low numbers right here. It's really quick to sell a home right here. So what this is obviously telling you is year over year, there's just less inventory, less homes are being sold out there, right? Does it say that there's disaster in the market? This number tells us whether there's a disaster in the market. 100% of the homes are selling on an average to the sales to list price, and the prices keep going up. So when somebody says, how's the market? You can't go with the media saying that the market's terrible. Because the market's not terrible according to these numbers. What the market's saying is prices keep going up and homes are selling even faster.
That's such a key
Right.
point, John, that I think is important everybody hears,
Yeah.
is where do most of our database get their information on the status of the market? It's the news.
Yeah.
What is the news? What grabs eyeballs? Good news or bad news? So here's how this could look. The media could say, pending listings, properties under contract down 17%. They could say, that where we at? Number of sold is down 35.2%. The days on market is up 44.4%. The market's crashing. That's what they say. But is that really going on? Okay, it's like, okay, if that's the number compared to the same month last year, is that good or bad? Well, let's take a look at a different number. Let's say, all right, let's look at a normal market. What's normal? Okay, so if we look back to 2016, active versus pending, it's like only half of, like you had about 8,000, 15,000 active, 8,000 under contract. Versus now, there's 6,000 active and 5,000 under contract. You see what I mean? Let's look at 2019, 14,000 active listings. There were 7,900 under contract. That number is almost half, right? This is a great number. That shows we have a lot of stinking demand for what hits the market. Does that make sense? Because that pending number is almost as high as the active number. We can't compare it with an anomaly of last year, which is one of the strongest first half of the year we've ever seen in the history of ever. Okay? Oh, with 1.9 months of inventory, what happened? If that's significantly lower these other months, what does that do to price? It pushes the price up, and that's why the prices are going up. They're at 465 right now. Okay, median days on market. That last slide said 44% increase in days on market. The market's crashing. Well, hang on a second. 13 days is like half. And honestly, that wasn't even a balanced market. How many months of inventory is a balanced market? So even this was still a seller's market, and we're half the days on market is what it was back then. Do you guys see it? When it's taken out of context, it can be spun the wrong way. It's up to you to be a local economist of choice. So what else you want to add to this?
I got a trick question for you.
Go for it.
What in 2016 versus 2023, which was the better market? The trick question. Which was the better market?
23.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's a subjective, answer, right? Because what's better?
Yeah.
Right? What is better? Right? So for a seller, I think if I'm selling my home, it's much better, right? Because look at the prices, look at how the prices have risen, right? Look at the months of supply, like 1.9 versus 2.7. So my home's selling a lot faster. Sales to list price, isn't that a better market for me because I'm a seller? So when somebody says, how's the market? And I always say, well, why do you ask? Are you thinking about selling your home? Because the market right now for you is fantastic. Right? So that's why you have to dig into that answer. What is a better market? So some people might say, well, this is a better market because look how many more homes sold. Right? So it's the perspective you're coming from where the better market is. And then don't worry so much about, oh, wow, look, we're in a real estate recession for real estate agents because there's less homes being sold. Look, I just want to sell 200 of these things. I don't want to sell 3,300 of them. Somebody else might want to sell 3,300, but I just want to sell 200 of them. Right? So when you look at that comparison, is it a bad market? You have to really kind of take a perspective of why you're asking the question. Right?
Write this down. There's opportunity in every difficulty. There's opportunity in every difficulty. The second thing to write down is the obstacle is the way. The obstacle is the way. What does that mean right now? If there's a shortage of inventory and you can be the person that helped create inventory, that obstacle has become the way to succeed in this market. What did I talk about earlier? Creating inventory. Finding listings, either have assumable mortgages, maybe you're creating listings through talking to Airbnb people, VRBO people. Like, what are the things you're doing to create inventory? Because a lot of people like, man, I wish this market was easier for buyers. I remember in 2009, 10, the bottom of the market, when we had almost a year worth of inventory, or actually over a year worth of inventory, you'd have to show 100 homes for somebody to pick one. And then they wouldn't make an offer on it because they know it would still be there 6 months later. Like there is every single market, you're going to have your own challenges. The market's the market. production's a choice. There are agents killing it right now. What are they doing, right? And that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I like to use this chart, especially when I'm talking to sellers. Right, it works both, I'll show you how to use both sellers and buyer. It's when you're getting to, when you have your consultation. I usually wait till the end of the consultation before I start talking numbers, right? And why would you want to do that? Why would you want to wait till the end to talk specifically on numbers? Does anyone have an answer on that?
No.
All right,
You demonstrate your value first.
yeah, that's one, that's a great reason.
Build rapport.
Build a rapport, yeah.
You understand how deep to go into
There you go. I think
You've got their personality.
what are they looking for, right? Because you really have to understand what story you want to tell with the numbers. So if you're walking into a home right now and they say, hey, everybody in my block is selling their home at over list price and in 5 days, so so I'm gonna put my home on the market for $20,000 more than the last list price. So I go, okay, well, I've got that information. Now I want to start talking about failed listings right down here. Look at that number. Still 25% of the listings are failing. In other words, they're going past expiration and they're not selling, right? At least in the first time around. So good market, bad market, none of that matters as far as now you want to tell a different story. Now, why do you think? Now, I would pose the question back to the person I'm sitting across the table with. Why do you think those listings are failing? Let them come up with the answers, because then they might answer the question themselves. Maybe they overpriced them. Okay, that might be one of them. Maybe the house wasn't in great condition. You have to show them how to get their home in great condition. So this is how you kind of use this information on a listing presentation, on a consultation. On the other side of this whole thing is when you're talking to a buyer and the buyer saying, I'm waiting for the market to crash. Well, stop waiting, because these people probably started waiting in 2019 for the market to crash, and look at what the median sell prices are going. And you could probably give the same stats in this particular neighborhood on how last year you could have bought the same home for $50,000 less than this year, right? And for the same reason, when somebody starts saying, I'm waiting for interest rates to drop, right? So, well, I could tell you, okay, they may drop, they may go lower, but you're still gonna pay more for the same house next year, right? Right, so you're gonna pay $50,000 more, but your interest rate might be about 0.3% less, right? So where did you win on that? So this is how some of the ways you can get to use this stuff. Now, you go so deep with this, that's why you have to be at Chart Masters on Friday. Right, you're gonna see Andy and Leslie, and Barbara, you're gonna chime in on Friday a little bit, right? What you're gonna hear are great scripts you can use on how to take all these stats, because some people's eyes glaze over when they look at numbers and they can't explain them. It's hard to explain. But they'll give you the exact scripts on how to use. There's gonna be 100 charts, right? Pick the ones out that are.
You only need 2 or 3 charts.
And take the ones out that you know that, oh, I feel comfortable talking about this, right?
So to recap what we said so far, you could have this one and this one, and how you use it, you say, hey, you may hear in the media things like, pending homes are down 17% and it's 44% more days on the market, but that's compared to an anomaly. Here's what's really going on. Historically, you can see by this chart, it shows we're actually in a great market right now. So this would be a great one to show, and that conversation worked really well with a buyer. Like, hey, the market's strong, and the cost of waiting, even if we have for interest rates, we could pay significantly more for that house. And ultimately, you end up with a higher payment because you waited. The good news is if you buy it now, you locked in the price. You can always get a lower interest rate of your mortgage. So, okay, here's the third one to look at. And this one's interesting. This is a 6-month trend. And the reason I put this on here is number of active for a while was going down, down, down. It just popped back up last month. So for some reason, we had some more inventory. Now, here's the reality of it. We need it. We have 1.9 months of inventory. We need more. So that's actually a good thing. Okay. Here's another trend, number of pendings. Overall, if you just took a line and went like this, they're going up. Did it dip a hair last month? Yes, a little bit, but 1 month isn't enough to determine a trend. If you look at a 6-month trend, it's going up. So you have number active going down, number of under contracts going up. What does that mean?
Odd market.
Odd market for sellers, tough market for buyers, right? Okay, and that's why you're seeing, if you're looking at prices, the sales price going up, median and sales price and original list price both going up. Distressed properties, I mean, good luck, you've got 0.6, 0.6, 0.6. If somebody says, I want to find a distressed home, ask them, I'm curious, what's more important to you? Buying a distressed property or finding a great deal on a home, distressed or not? And if smart investors will say, well, just getting a good deal, you're like, great, we go find you one. Get them off of just distressed sales. Does that make sense? Because there's not out there, there's not many of them, okay? Median sales price, original list price, back to 100%. I mean, look, it got scary for a second back in January. That number was dropping. You know, people were asking, you know, what they were asking, only getting 95%, but now it jumped back up. And back in January, 44% of the homes that went up for sale failed. Right now, 25% do. Why? Because demand's back. People just like, you know what, the rates are what they are. I'm gonna buy a home. I'm making a move. So, John, what else you want to add to this?
If I'm a first time home buyer and you ask me, is it a good time to buy a home? What would your answer be to that? Yeah. Why is it a good time to buy a home?
Always a good time to get the equity.
Appreciation.
So you got appreciation, I'm renting, I'm a renter, is it a good time to buy a home?
Yeah.
Right? Gary Keller said this a couple years ago, which kind of stuck with me. Right now is the best time in history to buy a home. Right? Historically, right now is the best. Why would he say that? Well, he said that because right now is the time when you're gonna start building equity, start building your wealth toward owning a home. Look at this, look at the prices, right? Have the prices going down or are they going up? They keep going up. At the same time, you're putting money, you're paying your landlord's mortgage off for them, right? You're not building any equity. So right now, so interest rates are high. You could always go back. If you're waiting on the interest rates to go down, you could always go back and refi. However, they're probably kind of pretty sticky right now, about 7%, you know, between 6 and 7%. At the same time, housing prices will continue to go up and they'll continue to rise, right? So now that's why it's right now the best time in history to buy a home.
Somebody may say, well, what if we go in a recession? What if prices did dip? There's a chart I'll show you in a second, a link I'll give you. Typically in recessions, the price at the end of the recession ends up being higher, except for one. I'll show it to you in a second. That was 2008, right? The price, are you looking to move next year? How long are you gonna stay in the home? Because the chances are they're there for more than a couple of years. They're gonna have built equity. How much money do they get back when they move out of a property they leased? Nothing. Stop making your landlord rich. Start building your own wealth.
The numbers say that even in cycles, which we're in this cycle that's been lasting, it just keeps going up and up. It's like we're outliving a 7-year cycle that we normally get in real estate. If you're gonna live in your home between 7 to 10 years, then you should outlive a cycle. You should be able to get through it. However, how long is this cycle going? It's going 12, 13 years of just straight on up, right?
Where we are.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay, a question, you had a question?
No, I was saying no.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And we have some great, a couple of resources that will help you in a second. I won't want to spend a lot of time on this one. I want to show you something on the next one. Where you can go on this is just look at the bottom, you know, active, pending, payment ratio, number of closings, distress, failed listing, months of inventory, months of supply, and it breaks it down by price range. You can say, where do I see some anomalies? Where we really see median days on market jumping up is once we get to above 1.5 million and then definitely above 2 million. That's where things start to shift. Pretty much everything under that on fire. Yes.
Will be copies of these?
Yes.
You get a mail to that. I like this one. I'm honestly the best, but I am getting the points that you guys said.
Pick the one that speaks to you.
Only
Yeah.
the reason why I highlighted, especially with buyer, I highlight their price range.
Yeah, there you go,
And I will talk to them, especially if they're thinking about lowballing and they see that the list sell price ratio is 99.7%. I like to highlight where it is in the data market and so they anticipate what to expect. I use that to tell them what you think will happen when it comes to inspections. Based off that, I use that one, this one right with the most.
This leads perfect, what you just said, to this slide, okay? Because it gives a little more information to that point. If I'm working with let's say I'm turning in, let me say it this way. If you look on this, it says, right now, number of active, number of price reviews, all that, great. Here's what I actually want to know. Right here, sold price reduced, 28.5% of the homes had to reduce their price to sell. 28.5 had to reduce the price to sell. If they didn't have to reduce it, what percent of their list price did they get? 100%. If they did have to reduce it, what did they get? 93%. Okay, so this is how you use this in actual conversation with a buyer or a seller. Let's go to a seller first. Now, days on market, if they didn't have to reduce it, no price reduction, how many days did it sell in? So if we're gonna get 100%, in what amount of days are we likely to get 100% in? If it goes more than 7 days, what price are we probably gonna get? 93% of it, how many days is that gonna take? 72. Okay, have you ever noticed like, well, what price should we adjust it to? A lot of agents say, oh, we'll just knock it off $5,000, see if that gets it sold. Hang on, there's actual numbers that tell us what to adjust it at. So let's say you have a $500,000 to $600,000 property that's been on the market for more than 7 days, it's been on the market for 2 or 3 weeks. What should you reduce? What does this number say it's ultimately gonna sell for? 95.2% of the list price. What's 5% off a $500,000 home? What's 5 times 5? $25,000. A $5,000 adjustment is not gonna get that home sold. Now, would I drop it down 25 grand? Probably not, but I'd probably drop it down 15. Somewhere in that range, right? Because a $5,000 is not gonna do it. Does that make sense? So when you're sitting down with that seller and they're saying, let's just knock it down 5, show them this.
Do another row, please, Andy. I love that. Can you do another row, just like you just did it?
Do what?
Can you do another row?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Hey, I got it.
So let's say you have a $700,000 property, $700,000 listing, okay? And we'll do the buyer side as well. Actually, let's do the buyer side because we already did seller side. I'll do it again, but let me do a buyer side.
Okay.
You're working with the buyer, you're making an offer on a property, okay? Let's say it's a $700,000 property and that property has been on the market for less than 8 days. What is it probably gonna sell for? Show this to your buyer when you're making an offer. Say, look, it's only been on the market 7 or 8 days. The listing agent said they're getting a lot of showings on it. The numbers are telling us it's probably gonna sell for a little over list price. I'll go in at whatever one we wanna go in at. Are you okay knowing that it may cost you not getting the home? Let the awkward silence sit for a second.
Right.
And then they'll tell you, no, we really want it. Say, then I recommend going in at full price, right? Maybe we'll ask you some concessions, but this is what the numbers are telling us. Now, what if that same $700,000 property had been on the market for 33 days? What is it likely gonna sell for? 94% of list price, that's 6% reduction. What's 6 times 7? So $42,000 less than the $700,000 list price. So that's if I'm sitting with the buyer and that property's been on the market for a month, month and a half, I'm gonna say, you know what, numbers are showing us it's probably gonna sell for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 less than list price. I talked to the listing agent, they don't have any offers on the table. I'm 100% comfortable going in level on this one. Let's see what happens. And in fact, when I send that offer over to that listing agent, I'm gonna send this sheet along with it and I'm gonna highlight it. I'm gonna say, here's how we came up with the price that we're offering this home. Please send me back some comps to support what you're asking for it. And the reality is they won't be able to. And actually, you will be helping them go have that conversation with their seller. Because now they can sit down with their seller and say, hey, this is why they offered what they did. This is what the market's saying. We don't have any comps to support what we're really asking anymore. You just won that deal for your client. Does that make sense? Does that help you too, doing it that way?
Yeah, yes, thank you. And you actually solidify the fact that you said you're gonna slip that in and send that to your agent.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say something real quick. I'm doing a 1031 exchange right now and I'm under the gun in a seller's market to buy. I've made like 5 contracts over the last month and every single one of them I've been able to negotiate heavily. Not all of them in Georgia, but what I'm hearing consistently, all the agents are telling me you can't write offers that are asking for anything. I'm like, yes, you can. And every single time I've gotten them accepted.
If it's been more than 7 days, they're gonna have to come off that price. How much? On average, 7%, right? So that's what you're seeing. You're making, if I needed to buy something and get a good deal for somebody, I would go into FMLS and I would search days on market more than 7. Right? And I would actually probably search where I know it's painful, maybe more than 30, right? If it's been on the market more than 30 days, you better believe that seller is worried about what's happening with their house right now. And they're nagging their agent saying, what are you doing for me this week to get my overpriced home sold?
Exactly.
You see what I mean? That's a great point, and
The stats offer 2 things for you. They offer you some protection from an irate seller or buyer thinking that you're not, whatever price you're offering, you've got backup, right? The other thing too, it sets you apart from your competition. How many other agents do you think are out there talking these stats with their clients? Right? Very few are out there, right? I want to make sure that, you know, when we're putting this up here and you could be sitting there going, oh man, this just feels like this is over my head. It did feel like it was over my head when I first started looking at this stuff, but you can be comfortable if you start looking at it, understanding it, go to Chartmasters. Did I say that enough today?
Yeah.
Go to Chartmasters. If you can't go to Chartmasters, it'll be recorded. It'll also be, it'll just be broadcast. Just make sure you go to Chartmasters. That gives you the comfortability and the scripts and how to leverage this stuff with your clients, right? And your potential leads too, because this is what you want to convert a lead with your market knowledge.
Well, if it's a listing lead, and you're sitting at that table and you ran the comps, and you're saying, the comps are saying that we should be listing this home at $500,000. And they're saying, I want to list it at $550. And you're like, I don't want to take this listing. Show this piece of paper, and you can say, okay, you know, here's what happens. We're gonna know if we got this price right within 7 days. And if we didn't get it right within 7 days, the numbers are telling us it's ultimately gonna sell for $25,000 less, right? And it's probably gonna be right around the price that I'm recommending. So here's what I'm comfortable doing. I will agree to list the property for $550,000. However, we're gonna put in the special stipulations. All parties agree that if we get to 7 days and the property is not under contract or currently in negotiations to go under contract, that we will adjust the price down by blank amount or to blank amount and fill that in there, that number in there. That way, when you get to day 8, you're not having to ask for a price reduction. It's already built in. And I may give them a little leeway. I might say, let's give it 10 days, you know? And then you know what I would do again? 10 days later, I have it built in. We're gonna adjust it one more time. Here's one thing I've always done though. I pick off days. I didn't want other agents to look at the history and say, oh, looks like every 10 days, if it doesn't sell, they reduce by this amount. So I actually would put like a day 11 will adjust it to this. Day, 19 will adjust it to this. Day 27 or 25 will adjust it to this, and it will sit there for a little while. And my clock on how many days on the market doesn't start till we get to the price that I recommended we list it at. Right? And then they sign it, and then you take a listing. Make sense? Use this in your listing consultations. Use this with your buyers when you're making offers on property, whether it hasn't been on the market long or it has been on the market long.
Yeah, I just, on a special listing consultation, when people want to overprice their home, they don't want to hear your opinion, because if your opinion is lower than their opinion, they're gonna go find another agent that has their opinion, right? So this is not my opinion, these are the facts.
I want to sell it for $550. We all win, right?
Right.
Right? Last time I checked, we all get paid 1% of the sales price, so we want it to be as high as possible,
Yeah,
So, yeah.
present the facts, not your opinion, and because they will go find somebody that agrees with them, trust me.
Yeah.
Because Zillow says it's $600,000.
I said this last time, if they end up saying they're gonna go with another agent, say if you do that, put in the remarks, the special step that says if they ask you to reduce your price, you're allowed to cancel the listing. And what's gonna happen is that listing agent's gonna backpedal really quickly. I'm saying, I'm not looking to list your home, I'm looking to sell it. The market's telling us this is where it needs to be priced. We can list it at this price, but we're gonna build in the special stipulations. We're gonna adjust it down to where the market is saying we need to be after this amount of time. You do want to move, right? This is how we get there. So, you got to get their agreement, like you said in the beginning, that you're the right agent for them. Then all you have left is price. And you isolate it to just the price. Okay, yeah, Raven.
I'll see if I can add Andy and Leslie's price reduction plan, like Aubrey was talking about, on how to have that special stipulation in there to the slides when we send it out.
Thank you, Raven.
And on Friday, I'm sure that Andy and Leslie will have the scripts on how to get a price reduction, help you get comfortable with that.
All right, last two quick slides. We won't spend much time on this, but I want to get you guys out of here. This shows like how many are selling above 100%. It breaks it down by price range, but essentially what it's saying is how many sold above 100%? 3,300. Overall median sales price, list price, exactly 100%. Number of closings with sales price above 100%, 1,700 of the 3,300 went above list price. Percent of closings with original list price less than 52% went 101. I don't know that I would use this. I just put it in here to show you they're selling above list. That's happening right now. And some of them are doing 101.6%, 52% of them.
It's a great slide to show buyers.
Yeah,
Right?
that would be exactly.
Yeah.
Don't show sellers this, because that's what they're gonna expect out of you. Show this to a buyer.
Yeah, this way buyers know what they're up against right now. Well, I'm gonna wait for the prices to come down. Go back to the couple of slides before and watch that price to keep rising.
And again, we can go in at whatever we want to go in at, which I'm not being a good agent if I'm not showing you what the market's telling us. This is what the market's telling us. Are you okay risking potentially not getting this home? Okay, this last one, this just shows we're in a seller's market up until really $3 million. If we don't hit 6 months of inventory, until $3 million. Now it gets a little more difficult when you're at 5.6 or 4.3. It's 1.9 months until $900,000. That is a difficult market for a buyer, off the market for a seller. Does that make sense? Is the market good right now? It's on fire, and because of supply and demand, it looks good. So here's what you'll have. You'll have somebody that will say, but I don't know, I'm still thinking there might be a recession coming. You know, I'm just reading the media and I don't know. This is where you can show them more things like, oh, I think prices are gonna drop. I'm gonna wait for prices to drop. You guys are gonna get this. I wanna read just 2 little parts to you. To avoid an unfair comparison to that previous peak, we need to look at monthly data. And that tells a very different and much more positive story. While local home prices tend to vary by market, here's what the national details tell us. So if you look at this, the prices month over month, they did dip a little bit for a hot minute back toward the last part of last year. Nationally, didn't really happen here, right? But nationally, they did dip from July to January. What happened February, March, and April? Back in the positives. So you missed that boat, you missed the dip. Here we are again, right? Buy a home. You need to move, go ahead and move. Are you selling? Okay, well, what if the market does go into recession? Am I gonna lose money on the home? So history has shown that higher rates may take the steam out of rising prices, but it doesn't cause them to collapse entirely. This is especially true in today's housing market, where the demand for home continues to outpace supply, keeping the pressure on home prices. Say it's supply and demand, it's economics. But what if so many more homes come on the market and then more homes, are there and the demand isn't as high, and what happens? Okay, well, let's go to 2 other charts. So markets appear convinced that the Fed can pull off a soft landing. Here's what's happened. It said stocks, this was yesterday, stocks are rolling following a week that showed our inflation emergencies tend to be ending. Big banks are still raking in big profits. The Fed's so-called soft landing scenario, getting the inflation down without tipping the economy into recession, is a distinct possibility. As long as corporate finances, which we talked about earlier, don't end up shockingly bad this season. Americans have 10 to 15% more cash right now than they did in 2019. Right now, the industry is really, really, really strong. Okay, but what if? Okay, let's play the what if. Okay, what if it did go into recession? Here's all the recessions that have happened since 1965. I don't have my cursor on this, on my mouse, but when we send this out, you'll actually go to click here on this chart. Every single price, if you click here and then click here, is higher at the end of the recession. It's higher than it was when it started, right? Every single one of them, except for which one? 2008, right? That one took until like 2014 or 15 to get back to where the prices were. It took a few years. But what industry caused that? We did. Banking, really, and real estate, is predatory lending. You can fog a mirror, you get a loan, So that's what happened. And the good news is there's been things put in place that prevent that from happening. So, and look at the period of the recession. All of these are like the average recession of 8 or 9 months when it's labeled a recession.
There are some economists that say, if we do go into recession, what happens to interest rates? They're gonna go down. And is there a lot of pent up demand out there right now?
Yes.
Right, so now all these people are gonna come into woodwork, start buying homes. What happens to supply and demand? Where do the prices going up?
Once they come out of the woodwork, now you got more buyers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right, we got more buyers and then more homes go on the market and the price starts going up again, right? So that's how housing prices just keep going up over time. So even out of a recession, interest rates go down, there's still a lot of pent up demand out there. So we're looking at prices continuing to rise, get people off the fence. Right now is the best time to buy a house, right? Obviously, it's a great time to sell a house, as you can see from the stats. I think everybody knows that, right? On the buying side, you want to get your buyers motivated. Buy it now, don't wait.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if a fear is losing money in the home, you take, including 2008, any 7 to 10 year period, the prices are higher than when they were initially purchased.
I bought a home in 2007. And it dipped way down, but I sold it for twice what I bought it for recently. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Remember we said education without implementation is just entertainment. Well, look at your paper. What's your one thing from today? What did you hear? What are you going to use in your business? What was helpful? Yeah, pick 1 or 2 or 3. Yes. Yeah. Somebody else. you have something specific in there that you could mention. How are you gonna use this? Yes.
I'm not here to list your whole, I'm here to send it.
Mm-hmm. So true, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, who else? What are you taking away? Markia?
There's opportunity in every difficulty.
Yeah. Yeah. The obstacle is the path. The obstacle is the way. Yes. Mhm. That's right. Okay, who else?
I like
Marie.
your, I'm sorry.
Loan assumptions are back.
They're back. They're happening. You heard Lauren. She's closing them. This isn't like, hey, I heard this works well. Like, this is happening in our group right now. Yeah, Nicole.
I like where you said, instead of like absentee owners, now go to investors, see if they are getting the exchange they want, the ROI, and see if you can get them to their call.
Yeah. So you just created a listing and a buyer, you know? Absolutely. Yep. Okay, John, anything else you want to add that we can talk about?
I would just say, just change your lens. If right now you're in any walk of life you're in any area of your life, spiritually, emotionally, with your family, wherever you are, just change your lens as you look through it. Right. So especially in this business right now, the lens that the media wants to put on this whole thing says that things are going bad and people are not making money and the whole thing is collapsing, right? And switch your lens to, hey, there's agents out there having their best year ever, right? And how are they doing that? So, and then seek that out and find those people and follow those people. Don't follow the media who's taking you down the other path, right?
Can we give John a round of applause? So I'm gonna close this out with this. There's a story that I've heard a few times that I love, and it talks about going into the circus. Who's been to the circus at some point in their life, or maybe heard of the circus, or don't know what circus? Okay. I'm not gonna raise their hand no matter what. There was a story about somebody walking into the circus and they see this big tent, right? And there's this elephant that's tied with a chain to this pole that holds up the entire tent. And everybody knows, like, look, that elephant with one swing of its leg could cause the entire tent to fall and collapse, but it doesn't. Why? It's because when it was a little small baby elephant, they drove a stake in the ground and tied a rope, a chain around that stake and put it around that baby elephant's leg. And that baby elephant fought and kicked and fought and kicked. And eventually, what did the baby elephant do? Gave up. Gave up. It's like, you know what? I just can't do it. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna keep fighting. So now the baby elephant grew up. And even though it could knock down the entire tent, it doesn't. Why? Because it's holding on to that limiting belief. And what I want, that it can't do it. And what I want you to hear in this is, if you argue for your limitations, I can't do something, guess what? You get to keep them. You argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. So my question for you is, what limiting belief are you still holding on to that you really need to break away from, to break that chain? Because it is possible for you. Other people are doing it. And it's not because they're different from you. You can do what they're doing. Take them to lunch, take them to coffee. The market's the market, production's a choice. You have greatness inside you. The world needs to see it. I just want to say thank you. Yes. You were dismissed. Hi, Michelle. How are you? How you doing? Yeah.